There wasn't a dry eye at the Rashtrapati Bhavan when the widow and mother of brave Captain Anshuman Singh received the Kirti Chakra, the nation's second highest gallantry award in peace times from President Draupadi Murmu. It was unparalleled valor that Captain Singh had displayed at the Siachen Glacier when he ran into a hut that was on fire to rescue his men and material. But sadly now there's a dispute over his legacy. His parents and the widow Smriti Singh are at odds not just on the issue of the Kirti Chakra but also about official documents. The parents want a change in the law on ex gratia payments. Captain Singh's family have sought changes so that both parents and the widow get equal recognition and money out of the ex gratia after the soldier is killed in action.
Captain Anshuman Singh was killed in action in 2023 Siachen fire rescue operation. Captain Singh was awarded the Kirti Chakra posthumously on July 5th at the Rashtrapati Bhavan. His wife Smriti, with her mother-in-law Manju Singh by her side, accepted India's second highest peacetime gallantry award from President Draupadi Murmu.
We met on the first day of college, and I would not be dramatic, but it was love at first sight. And after a month, he got selected into AFMC. We met in an engineering college, he got selected in a medical college. So, super intelligent guy. So, from then on, after just 1 month of meeting, it was a long distance relationship for 8 long years. Let's get married now. So, we did. And unfortunately, within 2 months of marriage, he got posted into Siachen. On 18th July, we had a long conversation about how our life is going to be the next 50 years. He's going to build a house, we're going to have kids and whatnot. 19th morning, I get up, I get a call. He's no more.
Now Captain Singh's parents claim Captain Anshuman Singh's wife has taken the gallantry award to her home in Punjab's Gurdaspur along with his photo album, clothes and other memories. They also allege that Smriti changed the permanent address listed in her son's official documents from Lucknow to Gurdaspur.
जो कर रही है प्यार से करके जाती, मुझे बोल के जाती कि मैं यहाँ रिश्ता नहीं रखूंगी. साइलेंट वो एकदम से बंद कर दी हमसे. और जब माँ के साथ गई तो माँ ही बोली कि कुछ दिन मेरे साथ रहेगी, तेरे के अगले दिन. वो भी बोली कि कुछ दिन माँ के पास रहूंगी. तो मैं खुश थी. उतना बड़ा उसके पास दर्द था. एक पति खोई थी.
The parents have called for a change in the next of kin law, which determines who inherits assets and receives medical updates if someone dies without a will.
उन्होंने ये कहा कि हम पास्ट लाइफ को भूल जाना चाहते हैं उनके पिता ने. हमने उनको ऑन द रिकॉर्ड कहा कि वो हमारे जीवन के अंग हैं, आपके लिए भविष्य भूत हो सकते हैं, हमारे वर्तमान और भविष्य वही हैं. ये हमारी चैटिंग में है कि आपके विचार आदरणीय हैं, अनुकरणीय हैं, पर व्यक्ति की नजर में व्यवहार की नहीं.
Captain Anshuman Singh's family remains divided, but the case has shed light on the need for improved benefit distribution rules in the forces. Bureau Report, India Today.
So Captain Anshuman Singh made the supreme sacrifice of his life at the Siachen Glacier. He was awarded the Kirti Chakra, the nation's second highest gallantry award in peacetime, posthumously. Pictures of his mother and widow receiving the Kirti Chakra from President Draupadi Murmu went viral nationwide. Now Captain Anshuman's father has demanded a review of the next of kin policy and the award of ex gratia to the wife as next of kin. Should the compensation be equally split between parents and the widow, unless of course there are children? Is it time to review the policy in keeping with the times today? Joining me on India First is General VK Malik, former Chief of the Army Staff. General, welcome on India First. Sir, isn't this sadly not the first time that such a case has come up? You had to deal with multiple such cases after the Kargil war in 1999. 25 years later, the problem, it seems, persists.
Good evening and Jai Hind, Gaurav. It's rather unfortunate, yes. But then, these things have been occurring even after Kargil many a time. We tried to resolve many of these problems, but lately I noticed that they have been not only sensationalized, but they have also been politicized, which is rather unfortunate. Now, every soldier has to indicate next of kin. By and large, before they get married, they they write down the parents as the next of kin. Once they get married, then all soldiers, they generally indicate the spouse name, because that is what the marriage means. And that is what has happened earlier days before Kargil, and so subsequently Kargil, after Kargil also. Now, there has been problem. Ex gratia grant has to be given to the next of kin as per the legal orders, legal authority. And that's what, it's not the army job, but it is the government of India which has made that rule. But after Kargil war, we also persuaded all soldiers to write a will. And that copy of that will is kept in the army headquarters, also in the AG's branch, just in case any soldier wants to give some other share to the parents also.
Okay.
And we have to keep in mind that the widow is young.
Yes.
And when they have the children, she has to look after the children also.
Okay.
And the parents, by and large, have lived a longer life and a fairly comfortable life, even in this present case that you have indicated.
Okay.
He's a retired JCO. And he has been given his benefit when he retired, and he continues to get that also. So, looking at both these things, it's a social problem.
Yes.
And there is not much that the army can do except to give advice.
So I'll come to that aspect in just a moment, but I want to stay on the case that parents look after a boy, send him to the army, or look after a soldier, send him to the army. The marriage may be 6 months old, it may be 1 year old, it may be a couple of years old. Let's say there are no issues, no children. In that case, sir, should the parents be completely cut off from ex gratia? Should they, whether it's the soldier himself or the army, bring in a rule that let the money be equally split between the widow and the parents? After all, they looked after the child for so long, the soldier for so long, and it's the widow who gets the ex gratia, and the parents are often left with nothing.
Gaurav, to some extent what you're saying is right, but let's not forget that after marriage, we sort of take a vow of looking after each other. Yes. And your wife becomes your life partner, so to say. Now, in that situation, if the next of kin has been changed to the wife, then according to the law, according to the government rules, an army has got nothing to do with, all the ex gratia payment will have to go to the army, to the wife.
To the wife.
Whether she's been married for 5 months, 6 months, or whatever be the period. Now, that I don't think is going to be changed. And as I said, it is not the army's job to get involved in that. It is basically a legal requirement which the government of India has to look into. Okay.
And sir, soldiers, should they also then not write a very clear, they should write a very clear will. They should make it clear how much money should be split, keeping in mind modern day realities. Nothing against the young lady who's lost her husband and she has a very tough life to go ahead and live. But it's equally tough on the parents, and often they're left with nothing. So should a soldier not make it 50-50 or 60-40 or 70-30, whatever the soldier or the army may deem it fit, or the government can make such a law, sir?
Look, I'm not getting involved in the government law, but all of the property, you're right, the soldier should have a very clear will, and he can do that. All other properties other than the ex gratia payment today. Ex gratia payment, as per law, has to go to the wife. All other property that he has acquired and he's getting from the army also directly, that it depends on the will. If he says that half my DSOP should go to the my parents, well, it will go accordingly. So that part, that's not under dispute at all. One more thing I want to indicate.
Sir?
You know, we had this problem during Kargil War,
Yes.
and I had written to all state governments. Now, and I persuaded them to give a share of compensation that they were giving, and to the parents also, which is what they are giving. I know of case of Haryana. Haryana gives 70% to the wife and children, and 30% to the parents.
Oh, that's the point I was coming to. Absolutely. So Haryana, like you very clearly said, and rightly said, sir, 35% goes to the wife or the widow, 35% for children, 15% each for mother and father. Should the central government not do the same? Change, keeping in times with the modern day realities. Don't leave out the parents, don't leave out the wife, don't leave out the children.
Look, there are cases, I mean, in this case, she's a very young lady and she's got the whole life in front of her.
Yes, sir.
Actually, there would be cases, let's say at the level of the JCOs, when the wife has to look after the children also. They have to be brought up. You know, there is another case of Panipat where this lady has got 2-year-old child.
Yes.
She has to look after the child also. So, you know, it's very difficult to make. In any case, the army, I feel, should not get involved in the dispute. It is very unfortunate. Army can give advice to both people to sort out their problems, but I am quite certain that the army should not get involved in the legal part of it. And as far as the recommendations is concerned, let the government of India, if it wants to change the law, let them proceed with it. But I don't think it would be proper for us to not give compensation, adequate compensation to the next of kin, in this case, the wife.
I will let that be the last word on this part of the show. You've dealt with this issue very closely during the Kargil war, and I saw you in many instances be as fair as possible to parents, to the widows, to the children, and I hope the government comes up with a policy that all can perhaps come together and address this issue, this very, very painful issue, as effectively as possible. JS Malik, for joining me here. Go on, sir. You were making a point, sir.
I feel that we should not take sides. It's not fair without knowing the detailed circumstances under which this problem has occurred. And having said that, I would also request that let's not sensationalize this or politicize this. That would be unfair to the whole family, both the next of kin as well as the parents.
Oh, absolutely, sir. Very, very clear about it. We've tried to deal with it as sensitively as possible. For joining me here on this India Today special on this part, JS Malik, many thanks.
Thank you.
China's Foreign Minister Wang Yi has reached out to India's National Security Advisor Ajit Doval. China has expressed readiness to join hands with India's National Security Advisor Ajit Doval to, and I quote, properly handle, unquote, issues related to the situation on ground in the border areas. In his message to Ajit Doval, Wang Yi said, China and India, as the two most populous developing countries and emerging economies in the world, share a relationship that transcends bilateral boundaries and holds increasing global significance. He added that the two nations should jointly safeguard peace and tranquility in the border areas. China's stance is perhaps likely after India's strong response along the LAC, or India's refusal to say that it's business as usual till there's normalcy restored at the India-Tibet line of actual control. India's bonhomie with Russia and China's shifting focus to Taiwan are also being seen as perhaps some of the reasons why China is, dare I say, smoking the peace pipe. So what should one make of Chinese Foreign Minister expressing readiness to join hands with India's National Security Advisor to properly handle issues related to the situation along the line of actual control in eastern Ladakh? A change of heart or another trap? Joining me on India First is Lieutenant General Rakesh Sharma, former Ladakh co-commander, and Ambassador Ashok Sajjanhar, a former top diplomat and a keen China watcher. General Sharma, what do you make of Wang Yi's statement? He's also China's special representative on India-China border talks mechanism. Are these just pleasantries, or is China exploring forward movement now that Prime Minister Narendra Modi has returned to power for a historic third term?
Thank you for inviting me, Gaurav. The fact is that there have been, this is the second meeting here. The first meeting took place in Astana in Kazakhstan between the Foreign Minister, the External Affairs Minister, and Mr. Wang Yi himself. And then, of course, this message has come across to the NSA. Now, the fact of the matter is, how do you define normalcy? Is normalcy defined on the borders by retaining this large quantum of force that is deployed there and the infrastructure to employ that force at a moment's notice? Second part of the issue is that are they wanting to allow the patrolling that has been stopped by their occupying those areas along the line of actual control which they are occupying, and which, like, we have been denied to patrol the Depsang Bulge or the areas of Pegongso. So are they going to permit us to do all that? Is that normalcy? So if you ask me a personal opinion, that normalcy is not in discussion. If all that comes out is that they say, okay, we take what we are as a normal border management and control, and this is what they have been saying for last 3 years.
Yes.
That the way the border is held today, that becomes the normal border management and control, which should not be acceptable to us for many reasons. One being great distrust.
Absolutely.
How do you trust China, especially on the borders, after 6 treaties have been signed from 1993 to 2013, and in the course of last 4 years, as you have followed it very keenly, there have been 21 Corps Commander level talks. There have been 15 WMCC meetings that have taken place in India and in China. And then the principal foreign ministers have been meeting so often.
Yes.
And there has been just no movement whatsoever in Chinese moving, talking about withdrawal from this place or de-escalate the forces that they brought into this area, and they're still retaining it there.
No,
so,
de-escalate and de-induct, hopefully.
Yeah.
So let me take this to Ambassador Sajjanhar. Ambassador Sajjanhar, what's your take on the timing of this message? Should it be linked to Prime Minister Narendra Modi's visit to Moscow, or the conversation between Dr. Jaishankar and Wang Yi on the sidelines of Shanghai Cooperation Organization and in Astana?
Well, thank you very much, Gaurav, for having me on your show. I am not inclined to read anything significant or substantial in what Wang Yi has said. You know, this is not the first time that Wang Yi and Dr. Jaishankar have met. And if he had to convey something, he could have conveyed to Dr. Jaishankar in Astana. You know, it's when he met him on the sidelines of the SCO. It is, Prime Minister Modi had already come back to power. It is not as if, it is a subsequent development. And he has, in concrete terms, in substantive terms, he has not mentioned anything fresh or anything new. Yes. You know, this formulation has been a long-standing formulation that the Chinese have been using, that we should properly handle the border issue, basically saying that we continue to discuss whichever way it is, but other relations in other areas, we continue to work on them, whether it is business, whether it is investment, whether it is other areas of cooperation and collaboration, which they would like to do more with India. But India has made it very clear that till there is no peace and tranquility, till there is no status quo ante that is restored of April 2020, there is no going to be business as usual. And I think that message has been very clear right from the beginning. You would recall
Fair enough.
that in September 2020, both Jaishankar and Wang Yi had met in Moscow,
yes,
again on the sidelines of the SCO meeting. Even Mr. Rajnath Singh and the Chinese defense minister had met in September 2020. And same message was given that, it has to be status quo ante and on the basis of three mutuals.
Fair
mutual
enough.
interest, mutual respect, mutual sensitivity.
And that is not
We
happening.
can,
But General
take-
Sharma, President Xi and Chinese armed forces, they're increasingly being seen as more aggressive on the Taiwan front. So is China trying to ensure that the India-Tibet border remains peaceful? Or do you see this as a trap being laid for us?
So I don't know, one doesn't know what goes on in the minds of President Xi or any one of these his mandarins across there in China. But the fact of the matter is that there is a threatening posture and we have to be prepared for the threatening posture. And there is no possibility of any relaxation being carried out to the threatening posture all along the front. It's not Eastern Ladakh alone. It's right up to the other side opposite Kiputu. So the fact of the matter is that there is a threat which exists out here. Whether the Chinese feel satisfied with what they have, but even after 2020, they have been Yangtze, and as we news filters and subsequently, there have been many other places that the Chinese had tried to probe around on the other borders. So frankly, things are not at peace at all. And if they're not at peace at all, there is just no question of relenting on any one of these the postures that we have been occupying for so long. There is distrust among people. You cannot go into another agreement. We can talk for all we care. I mean, talks must take place, but there should not be any agreement that puts our troops into a problematic situation in managing the borders.
Okay, Ambassador Sajjanar, the United States is busy on multiple fronts. Ukraine, West Asia, now elections in the United States of America. Will China want to take this advantage of US being focused elsewhere to try something in Taiwan and therefore wants to ensure that the India-Tibet LAC remains peaceful while China focuses on Taiwan?
No, this could definitely be a very tempting proposition as far as China is concerned. And I think China has also seen that although Russia might have started off very poorly, very badly, very weakly in February 22, but today it is in a much more dominating and much more commanding position. And the manner in which the United States is going forward, it's focusing all its energies on Russia and that's what we've seen even out of the NATO summit that took place in Washington, D.C. Focus is on Ukraine. And so it could be tempted to feel that the eyes are off East Asia, eyes are off Taiwan, and it could go into an adventurous move there. But I think it is going to, I don't think China is really prepared. China has a lot of problems domestically also. Yes. And I don't think it would like to take this sort of move at this particular stage where the outcome could be, is definitely not a given outcome that they would like to have.
And especially when their outcome, what they thought would happen at the LAC did not go according to China's best laid plans.
Absolutely. And not the first time, whether it was Doklam or it was April 2020 and beyond Galwan, they never expected that India would be able to come with a mirror deployment of 50,000 troops and all the armor and equipment, and also take over the Kailash ranges there and look down upon China as to what it is doing. So I think it had to become defensive, and so it knows that it cannot take India for granted.
Okay,
so
General Sharma, both India and the United States have been very active even on the Tibet issue. The interactions of His Holiness the Dalai Lama in the United States of America, the visit of the US delegation to India. How would China, in your appreciation, be reacting to India's attitude, India's changing attitude, especially when it comes to Tibet? Is India now playing the Tibet card openly?
So no, I mean, this is normal. We have had relations with Dalai Lama and the Tibetan government for a very long time. And, we have not changed our stance at all on our relationship or our position on Tibet as far as India is concerned. Now, the Chinese may not like it. Obviously, they would not like it. They will protest. Even if a thank you comes and a congratulatory comes from the Taiwan president to our prime minister saying that congratulations you for third term, they don't like it and they make noise. So be it. These are, these are automatic things that the Chinese government may do. we do what we feel right. And that's what we are doing. Also about Tibet in this manner.
Okay, last 30 seconds on this show. Ambassador Sajjanhar, has China accepted the fact that India is very firm, no business as usual with tense borders? EAM Jaishankar also repeatedly made that clear. Will this force China to disengage, de-escalate and de-induct? Or are we now looking at permanent deployment all along the LAC from Arunachal to Ladakh?
Okay, last 30 seconds. I would be very surprised if China were to make any significant changes in its policy towards India in the foreseeable future. I think China feels that it has things going for itself. It can bleed India by stationing its troops there in such large numbers. It can withstand the pressure. It will be difficult for India to withstand the pressure because of the problems, because of the fact that India wants to focus on domestic development, etc.
Okay.
I will not, be sanguine that there is going to be any change in China's policy anytime soon. We need to keep ourselves prepared in every which way, whether it is economy, whether it is military preparedness, whether it is our external engagement, Indo-Pacific, all the areas we need to be focused on and keep ourselves ready for any unknown eventuality that might take place on the LAC and
Ambassador Sajjanhar and General Sharma for joining me here on India First. Many thanks. We'll be tracking the situation all along the India-Tibet border very, very closely as the situation remains grim.